As you guys might have heard, there's a pretty intense hurricane which has been battering Florida. And of course, Ron DeSantis is on the campaign trail. So he's had to kind of revert to being Florida's governor for the last couple days to deal with the situation and kind of, get off the campaign trail in order to actually do his job. As it says here, DeSantis's presidential ambitions are also under the spotlight as he puts his campaign on hold to manage the crisis at home. He flew back to Tallahassee from Iowa on Saturday night and has since appeared regularly on Florida televisions with updates on Idelia's path and the state efforts to prepare for the approaching storm. From behind a lectern with the state seal, the Republican governor has matter-of-factly shared logistics and warnings. The coming days will present a range of tests for DeSantis to navigate during a critical juncture in his governorship and the White House bid. His stewardship of the hurricane response and recovery efforts will be closely scrutinized by his political opponents and Republican voters, watching whether he can lead through difficult moments, comfort the aggrieved, and learn from lessons of past storms. It is not clear when DeSantis will return to the campaign trail. In a text message to supporters, his campaign said it would go dark for a few days, adding, "Before we sign off, can we ask you to chip in any amount you can to support our end of the month fundraising push?" So, a lot of people are talking about the fact that, again, DeSantis is kind of having to actually do his job as governor again as a result of this natural disaster. But a lot of people seem to be bearing the lead that indeed he has put his campaign on hold to manage the crisis at home, and that it is not clear when he will return to the campaign trail. What I'm starting to wonder is not, when he will return to the campaign trail, but if he will return to the campaign trail. Tell me if you think that I'm, getting a little bit overly speculative here, Zach, but do you think there's any chance that he uses this as an opportunity to kind of just gracefully exit the 2024 presidential race and kind of just bow out?
It certainly could become that. I think I would be quick to put I wouldn't be quick to put the cart before the horse there. I think right now he probably sees this as an opportunity to further distinguish himself from the field, to use this as an opportunity where he can really dig his feet in as the Florida governor and try and present himself because as a legitimate candidate and as a legitimate alternative to Donald Trump. I think that's one of the big stories here, and whether or not he'll be able to do it is it remains to be seen. But I think that if he does return to the campaign trail for president, it'll be because he feels like he has a victory behind him. He'll feel like he has a new wind in his sails. If he can show the leadership skills that you would want, if you were a Republican primary voter, obviously this is all like with that caveat, like I'm just trying to play neutral, campaign, commentator here, right? Like, obviously, I don't want Ron DeSantis to become president, but I'm saying that I think if he's looking at his political career and he's taking stock of everything, I think he knows he needs to do something to win back the momentum he had before Trump re-entered the race, right? And what was he doing? He was on top of the world at the midterms, right? He had talked about how he dealt with, COVID, which I thought he did a terrible job, but it was very popular with his base. He's talked about how he's dealt with hurricanes in the past, right? Even as he denies the threat of climate change is as severe as what it is. He's constantly battling the disasters that are fueled by the changing climate, right? And that gives him an opportunity to get some face time to go out there and say, I'm a leader and I can do all these things. Now, will he seize those opportunities this time around? I'm not sure. We've talked a lot about how Ron DeSantis is very he's very poor when it comes to connecting with people, right? Like he's very bad at interpersonal relationships, right? Like what was that fucker's name? Chris Matthews was on the Breaking Points the other day, and he brought up a really important point about JFK. One of the things that built JFK's like political reputation was that he made everybody feel like he liked them, right? Not that they liked him, but that he liked them, right? And that's actually an extremely savvy political capability to be able to deal with, right? Gavin, I'm not sure if your headphones are plugged in, but I can hear myself in that microphone. But anyway, just to kind of round that out, all I'm saying is that Ron DeSantis hasn't always been able to do that, right? Most people feel like he doesn't really like them. He's kind of prickly around them. We remember the scene that Gavin and I like to bring up where he like the guy like introduces himself to him and he's just like, okay. Like he doesn't say like, thank you for supporting me. Like, wow, it was such a pleasure. Like, blah, blah. He just like nods his head and he's like, okay. He kind of just like, goes inward and it's like unlikable. So I think if he uses this as an opportunity to, kind of shore up his support in Florida and kind of get the media fawning all over him like they were in the midterm or in the wake of the midterms, before, Trump kind of stole all of the momentum again, then I think he'd be in good shape. And I think he'd likely, come back with a vengeance. If it goes the other way and he continues to fall in the polls because he's not on the campaign trail, then, yeah, I think it's over for him.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm genuinely kind of thinking that he might take this as an excuse to just gracefully bow out of the campaign. It's a perfect excuse to just kind of quietly uh, ditch your campaign effort because I think he knows that it's not going well. I think he knows that it's basically been a total flop of a campaign and that he's totally squandered all of the hype and all of the momentum that he initially had. As I've said before, I think he totally peaked way too soon in this race. And I probably honestly think he kind of regrets even embarking on this project in the first place, this political campaign, because like I said, he was so beloved as governor. He was so hyped up. He was this rising star. And as soon as he tried to turn all of that hype and momentum into a successful presidential campaign against Donald Trump, he immediately got humiliated, completely humiliated by Donald Trump. He got the Lion Ted treatment, the little Marco treatment, Donald Trump going viciously for his throat, calling him Pudding Ron, DeSanctimonious, DeSanctus, Meatball Ron, all of this stuff, just completely humiliating this guy who, like I said, was enjoying so much hype and momentum just beforehand. So I genuinely think that he might take this as an opportunity to just gracefully bow out. We'll have to see, obviously, but I do think it's possible that he just kind of keeps his campaign suspended for a long time and then maybe only re-enters in the event that Trump actually goes to jail or has to drop out or something like that, creating the conditions for DeSantis to actually be successful. But as long as Trump's in this race, I think that DeSantis kind of realizes that him continuing to stay in is only going to be bad for his public image, not just with the GOP, but specifically with Florida, where he really needs to watch out because the longer he is parading around in Iowa trying to win the presidency, the more people in Florida are going to start to turn on him. And the more they're going to be like, hey, man, we just reelected you as governor of our state, not of Iowa. Why are you wasting time with this failed vanity campaign instead of doing your goddamn job as governor of our state, which, by the way, we really need you to be governor of our state. We're, dealing with mass shootings. We're dealing with hurricanes, et cetera, et cetera. So, we'll have to see. I know it's just a prediction, but I genuinely think I might be onto something here.
I'm much more skeptical than you on this one. I mean, if you look at Iowa, if you look at New Hampshire, if you look at all the first primary states, he's still polling in second place, and I think he does still believe that there's a firm chance that Donald Trump will go down. And I think that you're right that the state of Florida needs him right now there, but I think that he also has a perfect opportunity to get a slam dunk for himself if he's really present, if he's on the money, and if he kind of did the things that made him peak early, as you mentioned, right? Being a very, I mean, destructive in my eyes, but effective in the eyes of the Republican Party electorate in the state of Florida, right? If he does really go on the ground and show that he's going to be president and that he's going to take care of the people of Florida during this hurricane response, I think it does give him a lot of free media. I think it does, make the media look fondly on him. And while they're desperately searching for somebody that they can promote, that's an alternative to Donald Trump, I think that he's foolish if he turns away that, because right now what he's done is he's kind of got to get in or he's got to get out. So I understand your perspective that maybe he does decide to get out. But honestly, man, I think that at this point he's deciding that he's going to kind of get the fuck in there, man. He is going to be the alternative, right? And I don't see anybody else in the Republican Party primary being able to be the other guy. I don't think it'll be Nikki Haley. I don't think it'll be Vivek Ramaswamy. I certainly don't think it'll be Mike Pence. So I think that he is going to be smart enough to kind of hang in the wings, to get the puff treatment from Fox News and maybe even MSNBC. If he plays his cards right, they'll be like, well, down in Florida, I doubt MSNBC because he is still Ron DeSantis. But you know what I mean? To get that air of wow, this is what a real effective Republican leader would be doing, unlike Donald Trump, who's, court case begins Super Tuesday or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see what you're saying, but I just don't get the vibe that Ron DeSantis's heart is really in it anymore. So, like, I can definitely understand what you're saying from a strategic perspective and like how he could seize on this disaster in his home state in order to appear strong and really come off like a leader and maybe use that to regain some momentum in this presidential campaign. But again, I just really get the vibe that his heart's not in it, that he was a lot happier just doing the job of governor of Florida, and that he's starting to really feel like he's in over his head and it isn't worth all of the potential damage he's doing to his reputation. So obviously we'll have to see. I'm not saying this is 100% going to happen. It's just a bit of a prediction I have based on the way things are looking. But obviously, if he hits the campaign trail again next week, I'll come out here and, say that I was wrong.